All right, hey guys, welcome to today's video. If you are an existing subscriber, you can probably tell I'm in a completely different area and probably the filming looks way different because we are currently in an Airbnb. We are doing our cross-country move, and so I wasn't anticipating filming, so I'm also using my phone and editing on my phone, so it's not my normal videos, but Gather Round just released this unit, their 2024 US election unit, and I got it. I got it printed, and we are actually going to be doing it. And so I thought I would share it with you guys as soon as possible because this unit is meant to be done on the day before the election and the actual election, and there is some stuff to do after the election also. So I wanted to share my thoughts, my first initial looks on it, and let you know if I think that if it's worth purchasing for your family. Unit, again, it's not a full unit, it's not even a mini unit, it's 2 lessons. It is very inexpensive, and I think that is because Gather Round wants kids to really understand the US election, who's running, and how an election works. So it's $5.95, and that gets you the digital access to all levels. Still all the normal Gather Round levels. If you're not familiar with Gather Round, it's family style unit studies that your youngest pre-reader all the way up to high school can do the lessons. So they have a different like student activity section for each age level. So I have here printed the teacher's guide, which is what you, the parent, would read through, which is what I'll be discussing mostly. And then for my 3 kids, I have the pre-reader printed out for my kindergartner. I have the upper elementary for my 4th grader, and then middle school for my 6th grader. So they vary in the activities that they will complete based on the lessons. Sometimes they complete the same things, sometimes they're completing different things. It all really just depends. Again, this is a very short unit, so not much is done. So let's talk about the teacher's guide and how these lessons are going to work. So this is a 2-day unit specifically focused on the 2024 election year and is designed to be done on Monday, November 4th and Tuesday, November 5th. All ages. There is a brief lesson about the big picture of this particular election. So it does go into the actual candidates themselves that are running. It goes into some of the media that's been going on. This is a very, I think they use the word dramatic as far as like who's running and some different things. This is written from a Christian standpoint, and that the writer of this curriculum does have their own bias. So there is a letter to the student kind of explaining that. It is very hard, I think, when you have views to be extremely neutral, and so I haven't obviously done this entire unit. I have read through it though, and I believe I understand where they stand and where their political alignments are. So that just may be something you need to take into consideration if you're going to be doing this unit. Students will learn about the events that have led up to this day, including Biden dropping out of the race and Harris joining to the polls, campaigns, and debates that followed. They talk about the vice presidents that are running, what the candidates stand for, the electoral college, and they will make predictions. So I think it's pretty good. I don't tend to have like news on in our home, and I tend to keep a lot of the noise and drama away from my kids. So we are not going to get super into pros, cons, negatives, positives of the candidates themselves. I think my kids are still too young to have that stress or worry or thought. I hope that anyone that runs our country would do what's best for our country, and I hope that my kids, don't have a negative, or I don't want this unit to stress my kids out, I guess is what I'm saying. So what I think is really important is learning about how elections are ran. Politics mean the difference between a Democrat and Republican. It talks about how ballots are casted. It does go into some of the different types of ways you can vote, whether it's in person, mail-in ballots. There's vocabulary for each different age level. So you'll get this list of all the vocabulary words. I don't know if this is gonna focus on that or not. It has like a little infographic of the presidents and the vice presidents. If you are also new to Gather Around, they are obviously a Christian company like I mentioned, but there are a lot of like devotionals and things like that. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so that's the teacher's guide. So it kind of just goes through who is running for president, how the election works. It does go into the Electoral College, and I'm going to get to that in the student activity books. And then it also goes into what happens after the president is elected. And so that's where I would almost say it may be better doing it over 3 days. I would do like on Monday, kind of who's running, the pre-things. On Tuesday, we would focus on my kids making their predictions, and then they would be watching as the Electoral College votes come in. Probably finish that on Wednesday, and then learn what happens when the president is elected, if it even gets decided on Tuesday or Wednesday. I think last election, it was a couple days later that all of the electoral votes actually got counted. So who knows? Let's look at some examples. Obviously your kids may be on different levels than mine are. I'm just showing you some examples. So obviously middle school is my oldest child. They have a lot more like write in, fill in answers, their opinion more on things they're being asked for. They talk about, so they give the Electoral College and then they give them some scenarios. So they say, okay, if a candidate won these 3 states and then the other candidate won 1 state, who's going to win? So they really start understanding how electoral voting is. They get to learn about swing states. They get to do some predictions. So they have like a list of states and they get to say who's going to win the state, and then they'll mark were they correct or incorrect. And then they're going to track all the Electoral College votes. So in the middle school one, it's more of like a chart, where in the upper elementary, it's an actual picture of like the United States, and they would color in who wins each state. That was the middle school version. Let me see if I have any of the upper elementary pages I think stand out. They're gonna do their own little mock poll on something else, just so they can understand like how voting works. They're gonna be asked, is something a Democratic view or Republican view? So I thought that was pretty interesting. There's some very conversational type topics in there that you could have as a family. There are some related to like schooling and homeschooling, which I thought was interesting. Here's the map that they're going to complete and fill out in the upper elementary. There are answer keys as well if there's anything that you need answer keys for. And then let's look at the pre-reader one. So lots of coloring pages, tracing type activities. There is a lot about what is a good leader. So your middle schooler is going to write, a response about what a good leader is. I think your upper elementary is going to do like characteristics of a good leader. This one is about voting on favorite seasons. So it's all the same topics. It's just broken down differently for each age level. And then again, they do have another little coloring one. So even my kindergartner can participate along. So that is basically what it is. It's a 2-day lesson. I will probably break it over 3 days because we're going to be doing this along with another unit from Gather Around. It doesn't seem super heavy on reading. If this is the first election you've taught for your kids, I think it's really important learning about the Electoral College. Like I said, I'm going to keep the drama out as much as possible. I don't want this to be like a stressful situation for my kids. It's not their burden to worry about. They're too young at this point to worry about that, but they do need to understand how our country works, the importance of voting, and having your own values and thoughts, how things should work. So I really like this unit. I like that it's affordable, $5.95. You get to download it right away. I don't have my printer because obviously I'm not in my house. So I had it printed at Office Max, which I would normally not recommend, but I needed it printed. I bought it yesterday, had it printed yesterday so I could film today for you guys, and then we're gonna start it on Monday. But I think if you're new to Office Max, I had got like 40% off. So it was probably like $15 for me to print this. So all over it's 20 bucks. I think it's important. I think it's gonna be a good couple lessons for us. I will link it down below. Again, I haven't used it. This company is biased. I'm just gonna point that out. They are a Christian company and they have strong views on religion and politics. So you need to know that going into it, that if your values do not align with them, I think they tried to keep this unit as neutral as possible. However, it is impossible to have something completely unbiased when we're talking about politics. So keep that in mind. I think you can adjust it as a parent to keep it very contextual for your kids. Have fun doing electoral college, make it a night when the election is going on, have a little theme party and all of that. So I will link it down below. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick video showing you the Gather Round election unit.